Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 tips I have that help me survive when my husband is out of town. And so if you enjoy this type of content and other homeschool and lifestyle content, please remember to subscribe and let's get into it. All right, so my husband is around a lot of the time. He's a college professor, and so he goes in the days that he teaches and has meetings and things like that. But he also has a very, very flexible schedule. But he also travels, I wouldn't say quite a bit. I don't even know if I'd say like in the middle. There's times of the year that he travels more. He has conferences and stuff, so fall time is usually one of those times when he'll go to conferences. A lot of times they're on the weekends, and so it'll be like he'll be gone a Friday through a Sunday or something like that. The one I'm gonna talk to you today about, he was actually gone during the week, which I prefer because then that means we're doing homeschool a lot of the days. When he's gone on the weekend, it's a little bit harder because I've already like had the kids all week, you know, and he's around helping here and there. But then I also have them on the weekend all by myself, you know, and trying to figure out what to do. We don't have homeschool to keep us busy. And then on Sundays, I have them at church all by myself, all 6 of them. And so it becomes kind of a lot. So I actually prefer when he's gone during the week, but it doesn't happen very often. And usually it's like pretty quick trips, but it's still a long day. And my husband helps a lot around the house. Like he'll help with morning time routine, and he'll help in the evening too with getting kids ready for bed. Basically, once I stop nursing them and feeding them a bottle, he puts them to bed, as long as he's around in the evening. And so when he's gone, I now have to adjust to take care of them in the morning and take care of everything in the evening, and then obviously everything in between. And so I have them all day long, all night long, and it's a little bit crazy. So I'm gonna give you some of my tips. Some of these you're probably like, we already do these things, or that's just normal life for us, but I'm just sharing a little bit of insight into how I function when my husband is not around and what works well for our family. So let's get into these tips. My first tip is to have pre-established routines, because then when your routine is thrown off a little bit by someone maybe being taken out of the situation, things can sort of function normally. Obviously you have to adjust a little bit. But especially now that my kids are a little bit older, breakfast time, they can come down, they know the routine, they get breakfast, they start their piano, they start their chores. They're not perfect at these things, they still have to be reminded, but they know to get all those things done in the morning, and it's becoming more automatic for them. So since we already have that established, when my husband's gone, it doesn't throw us off too much because they already know that they're supposed to come down and do those things, and it helps me out a whole lot. And then also the same with bedtime. I don't have any B-roll of bedtime because it's complete chaos. And trying to stop what we're doing to take a video of something when I don't have another adult in the house is very, very difficult. So I don't have anything of that. But it still is very helpful. They know we eat dinner at a certain time of the day. And then after dinner, they go get ready for bed. And then they help me get the toddler ready for bed. And then I get the baby ready for bed. And it changes a little bit when my husband is gone, because usually he'll take all the kids and he'll either watch shows with them. He used to read to them, but my toddler just screams now because he wants to play with dad and doesn't want him to read a story. And so they'll usually the older kids will watch a show or something at night while I take care of the baby. But now I also have to take care of the toddler and the baby when he's out of town. So it becomes a little bit crazier when I have to do that. But again, having these normal routines that help, you know, my kids know to put their dishes in the dishwasher after dinner, and we all kind of tidy up a little bit. And so by the time everyone is in bed, I don't really have that much to do. Everything's kind of already cleaned up, just because this is how we normally function already. And it's just really helpful. So having those kind of routines, nap times, another one of those. Obviously my older kids don't take naps, but they know that during that time is quiet time. And so having nap time as this, we eat lunch, then we have nap time, is really helpful. So just those pre-established routines come in clutch when it is a struggle and when we are just in a little bit of chaos because we're missing an adult in our home. My second tip is to have things to do. And I know some people are probably like, we normally have things to do. I don't normally. I will go to a park or we'll try to get out of the house occasionally, but we don't a whole lot. I'm more inclined to do it when my husband is gone, just because we all need a change. But also this comes in with homeschool, right? When it's the weekdays, we have things to do in the morning. And the morning time for me is the hardest time to fill up with things when we don't have school. You know, and then, because then I'm like, if we can make it to nap time, and then that takes us to basically dinner time, the day is over. At least mentally, that's how I think. My kids are getting ready for bed around 6 or 6:30 and in bed by 7. Even the baby, she's usually in bed by like 7:15 and won't wake up again until between midnight and 2. It just kind of depends on the day. So I'm like, if I can just get through the morning time, the day is over. And that helps me so much. So when we have school, that consumes our whole morning. It just takes up everything, which is really nice. This particular weekend, these particular 3 days, it's a Wednesday through a Friday that I'm showing you. Usually we have school Wednesday and Thursday morning. Friday is kind of our flex day or fun day. This particular week, we did school on Wednesday. And then Thursday, the kids did a little bit of their math. And I was like, let's just go to the park. We needed to pick up groceries anyway. And I was just like, let's go have fun. I knew we were gonna be already doing something Friday morning. So we went to the park. The kids played for just a little while. The toddler got out of the house. He's just absolutely insane right now. So just giving him a change of scenery is so helpful. And it was really nice. And then Friday, there was a pumpkin walk. It's like goes on every single year. And we haven't been. We've lived here for 5 years. My 8-year-old went when he was in preschool. But other than that, we haven't gone before. So we went to that. It was, a little bit of a task, me taking all 6 kids to go. But it was a lot of fun. It was outside again. I love being outside, especially in the fall as the weather cools off. And it gave us something to do in the morning that, again, consumed most of the morning. Like by the time we got home, it was lunchtime, nap time. Obviously the day's almost over. And then my husband got home late that night. And so it was really nice. So just having things to do, maybe things you already do, okay, that take up that time, or things that you don't normally do that could make it fun, provide something different. Obviously don't overwhelm yourself because you're already a little overwhelmed being a single parent for a few days. So don't completely overwhelm yourself, but just have some things to do. My third tip is to have simple dinners or no dinner at all. You still feed your kids. They still eat something, but you don't need to make dinner all the time. I'm sure that they could find plenty of things in the fridge or the pantry to eat. Is it the healthiest? Maybe not, but it's a lot of stress off of you, especially with the weather still being nice. We play outside a lot right before dinner. And when I don't have help, it's a little bit harder for me to make dinner. And when my husband's not here, I don't like to make huge dinners. I'd rather just make something that I'm like, oh, most likely my kids will eat this. I won't have a lot of complaining and a lot of struggle at mealtime, and everything can be pretty happy. So on this particular trip, the first day we did a pasta sauce. I had a Beehive meal, which is, they're in Utah, they're in a few other states as well, but they're basically freezer meals, like crock pot meals that are delivered to you monthly if you want to get them monthly. But I had some left over from when I had my baby. My mother-in-law got me some, and then I had ordered a few more. So we did a meat sauce like marinara in the crock pot. So I put that in earlier in the day, and then I just made some pasta before dinner, pulled out a few fruits and vegetables, like cut up some apples, cucumbers, and things like that, and that was dinner. Okay, very simple. I didn't have to do a whole lot. I could still kind of supervise everyone, take care of the baby, and all that kind of thing. And then we almost always have pancakes when my husband's gone. That's just what we do. We didn't have them the first day because I didn't have enough pancake mix. So when we got groceries the second day, we made some pancakes, whipped up some whipping cream, which we don't always do if we don't have it, cut up some strawberries. Again, very, very simple dinner. And my oldest son helped a little bit with making the pancakes and things like that. And then the third night, we just had either leftover stuff or they could make something new. So like whatever was in the fridge, if they wanted a sandwich, if they wanted, eggs, they could have done that. Cracker stackers, I think some of them had. We had some leftover pizza from our Wednesday lunch. things like that. So sometimes we do eat out. I'm trying to watch like our eating out budget. We don't eat out very often, like normally, but right now I'm just trying to make sure we don't very much at all. It's just extremely expensive. It gets extremely expensive very, very fast. And so unless I'm really like just struggling or like not wanting to deal with dinner, I usually will try to just make what we have in the fridge and pantry work. And my kids usually are okay with that, especially if I just let them pick what they want to have. So I feel like that's a really important thing. Like simplify where you can, and making just simpler dinners or nothing at all where they can just kind of figure out their own dinner. It just makes my life much easier. My fourth tip is to utilize nap time. And I know not everybody has kids that are in a nap time stage. If your kids are older, you might not even need to utilize nap time because your life might not be as crazy with little kids yelling and screaming at you. It's nice because nap time is like quiet time. And it's quiet time for my older kids as well. And so if you have some sort of quiet time in your day, it makes such a big difference when you're all by yourself and you just need a few moments for you to be able to do what you want to do or to do nothing at all, okay? So like I will do some work sometimes. I've been working on a lesson for church during nap time while my husband was gone. What else did I do? I just did nothing. I watched Heartland for a while and just cuddled a baby. Sometimes it's nice just to not do anything during that time, or I would clean up, okay, or do crafts. Sometimes just having that little bit of time. Right now my time is limited with nap time. My toddler will take a longer nap, but the baby is kind of in that cat nap stage where sometimes she'll sleep a little longer. Sometimes it's just little naps, and so I try to get as much done during that time, even if it's just like eating a meal without being interrupted. So I might wait to have my lunch till everyone's down for a nap, and then I can eat without constant interruptions. So just little things like that, like utilize the downtime and plan stuff for that time that is really hard for you to do when you have your hands full with toddlers, babies, older kids, whatever it is. So focus that, like whatever you need to do. Type stuff is sometimes easier when I don't have it, like when I'm not holding anybody, or anything I really want to like think through is sometimes easier when I'm not being distracted, obviously. So plan those things that you really need to focus on during that time when you might just have, a few minutes of quiet. The fifth tip I have is to give yourself grace. This is important, and it's very hard for me because I'm a person that likes to have a list and just like do. So one of the ways you could do this is making sure you have nothing that is vitally important that needs to be done during the time your spouse is gone. And so make sure all that stuff gets done before, or it can be done after. If it gets done while he's gone, that's great. But if it doesn't, that's okay too. And so make sure you're not stressed and like, oh, I have all these things I have to do and I have to run my whole house and make sure nobody dies and the house doesn't burn down. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot of things to worry about. So make sure all the big things are either done before or after, and just have a little bit more free time during the time that your spouse is gone. I find that very helpful. Something else is you can still have a checklist of things you want to get done, but don't like hold yourself to the checklist. Don't look at it and be like, I have to get these things done today. If you get them done, if you have spaces, maybe the baby naps longer than normal, then look at your list, work on something. But if not, those things aren't vital. It's okay. And something with this trip that I kind of was thinking about this, like giving myself grace, is exercise. I like to work out in the morning. Again, it's part of that morning routine, but it's a little bit harder when I don't have an adult that gets to watch all the kids and kind of supervise and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So one of the mornings we went on a walk instead. Like some of my kids stayed home. I took the two littles and my oldest son, and we went on a walk. It was cold. It was like not even 40 degrees, I don't think, that morning yet. And the sun hadn't hit our side of the mountain. So it was a little bit chilly, but it was also just nice. It was nice to get some exercise and know that the little kids were safe. Maybe they were cold, but they were safe. And so that was good. The other two mornings, I was prepared, like, okay, maybe if I don't get as good a workout in, that's okay. If I have to stop halfway, that's okay. Maybe I'll have to bring the baby out. Maybe I'll have to bring the toddler out. And I was prepared mentally for that, and it actually didn't happen. So that was really nice, but I was willing to give myself some grace there as well and be like, okay, I know I like to work out all by myself, push myself really hard, but it's okay if that doesn't happen these 2 days. Like, it's not the end of the world. So my oldest daughter, she actually watched the baby while she did some of her schoolwork. My other daughter took the toddler downstairs and played with him one of the days. And then the other day, I think they were both just kind of around the kitchen table in the bouncer and in the high chair for most of the time while I worked out. Like, I make sure they're happy, they're fed, you know, or the toddler's eating. And then I go work out and hopefully everything will be okay. And I'm just in the garage, so I can hear everyone screaming. So if there's an emergency, I'm right there and it's totally fine. But again, I was prepared to give myself grace. So we need to make sure that we're open to that and be like, it's okay if I don't get everything done that I think I should. All right, so those are my 5 tips to surviving while my husband is gone. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know for some people, they're like, well, this is just how I live every single day. And I know everyone's lives look a little bit different, but I thought I would just give you a little bit of insight into what we do, how I function, what works best for our family when I am single parenting for a few days. So if you enjoy these types of videos, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.